If you're still creating the other thing. But the thing that's happening is we're clearing energy now for those of us who've been doing this work, and we're being more aware. And the idea is I have to understand that energy works on momentum. Once I get that momentum going, I have to stop it. I have to stop it before it gets... It's almost like now, if you can catch it quick, I don't have to go down the whole story. Maybe I can do a quarter of the story. Maybe a half of the story. Maybe eventually I can pull myself all the way back to not having the story at all. Because there is a desire in your soul to keep reliving this until I deal with the emotion that's there. So you have to understand that. If I keep recreating it, I haven't dealt with it. So there's a little part of it that's a little tricky piece of it that I found to be a really critical step. Because at a higher level of energy, you understand life very differently, and you're in a total state of acceptance. So no matter what happens to you, you know that was happening to you for a purpose, so you can learn something and deal with something. That's at a very high level. And that's hard for people to say, well, you know, I lost my job today, or, you know, somebody stole my money, or whatever, I got in a car accident. It's hard to say, well, that's great. You know, you don't get upset, that's great, I lost all my money, that was really great. You know, oh, I got fired today, wasn't that great? You know, but the idea is to understand it from here, not from here. So I always say, we make a joke in our house, we say, you know, you're being too third dimensional right now. Right? Being very third dimensional. You're worried about all this third dimensional nonsense. And people say, what does that mean? You know, I said, if you don't know what it means, get out. So this, you don't belong in this house, the energy's too high for you. No. Which is basically what happened with the family events, but that was it. But, although we couldn't throw them out, we tried. But we couldn't. So, we're working on moats and stockades, but anyway. So, people are going to say, thank God, I'm glad we're taping this so I can send it home to our families. This is what we're doing in California, just so you know.
Clearing the energy.
We're clearing everybody's energy at once. We don't want to worry. So what ends up happening is, you know, we get pulled back down into the mundane nonsense of third dimension, of saying who did what to me, who's right and wrong, who should have done what, or who didn't do what. Instead of playing the game up here and saying, what is this all about? What's really happening here? Why am I creating this situation? What is this really about? Because you're the one creating it based on your vibration of energy, based on what you want to resolve. So that is the only way for you to deal with it, is to deal with it. You can't deal with it here. It cannot be done. Because here, see, at the low level, in 3D, you're really in your brain. And your brain is a big mess. Because your brain is trying to see things in a logical, sensible way, correct? Your brain doesn't get it. Your brain is trying to say, well, wait a minute, I need to understand this, I need to figure it out. This is a big problem, by the way. If you're trying to figure it out, you got big trouble. Because you can't figure it out. There's nothing to figure out. So your brain keeps jumping in and pushing you back down into third dimension to say, I need to deal with this here. But your higher self and your soul and your spirit saying, no, 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 you need to deal with this here. So this is going to be an interesting part of how you clear it, because what's happening is every time you get into your head and start thinking and start trying to figure it out, or make somebody wrong and you're right, or who's right and who did what, and who shouldn't have done this and who should have done this and who didn't do this, that's pulling you down. So the idea is always jump yourself up until you're always there and you're never here, which is really weird.